Hey, hello everyone, Michael Crouch here, and welcome to this lesson where we're going to talk about deciding what types of services your client needs. Now, this is an exciting topic that I like to cover because I think it's a little bit misunderstood, and I think this is going to give you a huge leg up on the competition by being able to understand this. So, when I look at what types of services a client needs, you can break it down into two basic differences of what a client might be looking for. One is going to be a consulting service. This is going to be kind of a do-it-yourself, right? And then the other is going to be more of an agency service, which is going to be more done for you, right? So we'll just put a couple acronyms here. So number one is going to be DIY, do it yourself. And number two is going to be a done for you service. I'll put D for Y, okay? Do it yourself and done for you. So do it yourself means the client is going to be doing it, and that's really what we're focusing on in this entire course is how to consult with clients so they can do it themselves, right? Done for you is going to be more on the social media marketing side of things, right? Where a client is going to pay you to actually do the work for them, right? And there's advantages and disadvantages to each side, but we're kind of covering what are the advantages of do-it-yourself, and one of the huge advantages is your ability to scale. So your ability to sell do-it-yourself is has a much higher potential of scaling in a lot of ways, because when you get into doing it for a client, there's a lot of management, right? If you're managing ads, if you're managing SEO, all that kind of stuff can take quite a bit of time. And so when we look at clients, we have to kind of look at the demographic of the client that's going to be more interested in a do-it-yourself versus a done-for-you. Now, this is where it kind of gets interesting, because when I've talked to students about niches they'd like to do, a lot of times the niches that come up are kind of big high-dollar industries. Maybe they want to work with plastic surgeons, or they want to work with dentists, or they want to work with some of these companies that bring in a lot of revenue. So that's, and the idea of that is if they have more money, then, or they're making more money in their business, they're going to have more money for you to spend on marketing, which is true. But there's a flip side to that. The flip side is a lot of these bigger industries, when we talk about plastic surgery or a dentist or something like that, they're not going to be interested in this do-it-yourself model as much. Okay, because they're already busy, right? So if a plastic surgeon, if he's making several $1 million a year, what do you think the chances are of that plastic surgeon wanting to learn how to do Facebook ads? Not that good, right? As opposed to, let's say, a gym owner, or maybe a chiropractor, or maybe somebody that's a little bit more of a grassroots entrepreneur type of industry. Those guys are going to be more interested in a do-it-yourself, right? A gym owner is going to be way more likely to basically take consulting services and do something themselves, let's say with Facebook ads, than a plastic surgeon, right? Who's going to want you to really more do it for them, okay? Now there is a caveat to this. So within the do-it-yourself model, there's kind of two types of do-it-yourself, right? So I'll draw a couple lines off here. Okay, the first one is going to be train the owner, and the second one here is going to be training their team. Okay, so training an owner is going to be, again, that's going to be more like let's say a gym owner is going to be more of a grassroots entrepreneur and more kind of heavily involved than, let's say, a plastic surgeon who has a big practice, who he's already busy, focused on surgeries and making enough money where he doesn't have to really train himself on any other skill except a skill he already has, which is to do plastic surgery, right? But there is an opportunity here to possibly train his team. So a lot of these bigger companies have marketing teams, right? So a plastic surgeon, while they might not be interested in the do-it-yourself model to train them, if they have an in-house marketing team, then you can make a case where you can empower them to train the team so that they can experience not only the best marketing tactics out there and to get an edge up going into 2020 and 2021, but they can also experience all that cost savings by having it be in-house and not having to pay a huge premium to somebody that's going to do it for them, okay? Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that if you are going to be a consultant, you should have a done-for-you partner, because there's always going to be clients that are going to want the work done for them. So a couple things that you need to decide is, one, are you going to be both? Are you going to be a consultant, and are you going to be a done-for-you service like a social media marketing agency? And if you choose to go that route, that's fine, but you just have to be aware that, you know, there's going to be some extra workload there, and you're not going to be able to necessarily scale as fast, potentially, as you would doing it this way, because obviously if you're just consulting, you can bring on a lot of clients and you can kind of systematize a lot of those processes, right? You can provide clients with video trainings on how to do the services that you're doing, and you can have some systematic processes for training, as opposed to on the done-for-you side, when you actually start getting into running ads and, you know, doing ads manager for a client, or if you're doing SEO or any of that kind of stuff, it's going to take some infrastructure on your part. So if you're not going to do that and you're going to say, hey, I'm just going to be a consulting service, which is not a bad idea, because again, it allows you for that scale and allows you to be able to systematize a lot of these processes. Again, a lot of the do-it-yourself stuff, you can provide training videos and things to the clients that aren't going to eat up a lot of your time, which are going to allow you more time to sell more clients. Then you want to have a done-for-you partner, right? So you want to find somebody out there that can do it for you. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But generally in this aspect, you want to find somebody good and experienced in that specific industry. So if you're going to find a done-for-you partner, I don't recommend going on to, you know, Odesk or, you know, PhilippinesJobs.com or any of these, you know, kind of services that have, you know, people overseas just kind of, you know, doing work. Now, not to say that somebody on Odesk or Elance or, you know, those type of services don't do good work, but and now I guess Odesk and Elance are now Upwork together. I'm dating myself by calling them that. So Elance and Odesk actually combined to form a company called Upwork. So it's not that I wouldn't say that you don't find good quality on Upwork, but when you're dealing with the done-for-you side, if you're only going to be doing consulting and you're going to be referring out for clients that want all the services done for them, you know, you want to have a reliable agency partner that's what they do. So again, if you're working with, let's say, gyms, then I would highly recommend finding an agency that works with gyms. That's what they do, and they'll pay you a generous commission for referring the clients over, okay? So that's that. Now I want to cover one more thing when it comes to this, and that's when you're doing either do-it-yourself or done-for-you, what are the areas to focus on, okay? Because it's a big world out there, right? So you have, we talked about in a previous video, you have two things that are going to impact this number the most. This is the number that everybody cares about, right? That top line number of a balance sheet, the most important number, right? Why is it on top? It's the most important number, right? If you don't have sales, you don't have a business, right? So any business out there, I don't care who they are, this is their most important number, okay? Now, to impact this number, you have two things, right? You have digital marketing, okay? We'll put DM. And number two, you have apps, right? You have software that's working on your behalf to nurture those clients, right? So you have digital marketing that's pushing those leads, and it's pushing them to software that's going to nurture those leads and is going to basically take them along the next step of the sales process, okay? So the reason we say apps is because that's the best way to use software right now. That's what's new to the last year or two, that if you're going to talk about finding a wave to ride, this is the wave. So I live here on Maui, and one of the most well-known entrepreneurs on the Hawaiian Islands is a guy named Hank Rogers, who I've got to spend a fair amount of time with because I had a business that was in his co-working space in Honolulu. But one of the analogies that he likes to give is when you're an entrepreneur, it's a lot like riding a surfboard, okay? The first thing you have to do is have wave selection, right? So you don't just jump on every wave. If you ever watched a surfing competition, they're not just jumping on every wave, right? They're looking for what is that best wave that's coming in that they can get the highest score on, right? Because even if they ride the wave perfectly and do everything right, if they don't pick the right wave, they're not going to get the highest potential score that they could, right? So the first step is to pick the right wave, right? So in this case, this is really kind of the sweet spot of where you want to be. Digital marketing combined with using apps to nurture the client. And this, again, is new to the last 1 to 2 years, even to the last just 1 year, where you can really utilize these super apps to do heavy lifting and to really take a process that would have cost you tens and tens of thousands of dollars and months of time to build software. And through the power of apps, you can now offer those same services to clients, but instead of it taking months and months and tens of thousands of dollars, it can take days, if not hours, and hundreds of dollars. So it's an order of magnitude different than what it was, okay? So this is kind of, in my opinion, prime wave selection going into 2020 and into 2021. So this is stuff that's gonna last for a while, okay? The next step in, with catching a wave is you gotta paddle, right? So you gotta paddle. That's where you really put in that hard work as an entrepreneur to get that momentum, because momentum is everything. Tai Lopez talks a lot about it, but you have to, really paddle to get that momentum, because you got to get your board going as faster than the wave for the board to catch the wave. Then once you do that, then you can stand up and now you're riding the wave, right? Now you're actually on that wave, you're generating revenue, things are becoming easier. But again, step 1 is wave selection. Step 2 is paddling your heart out. Step 3 is you get to stand up and really ride the wave and experience kind of the success of your hard work being put in, okay? So this is going to be, in my opinion, the number 1 and number 2 things that are going to impact this number, okay? Impact sales, which is what you want. You need to have those leads coming in with the most powerful tools, and you need to have apps that are, nurturing and doing that process. Now, what I like to do is break things down to the common denominator. And what I mean by that is, this is a big world, right? Digital marketing, there's a lot of digital marketing out there. Google, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, Snapchat, a whole world of ways that you can do digital marketing. So it's not gonna be in your best interest to try to figure this all out, right? So especially if you're starting out, right, and you wanna be a digital marketing consultant, please don't think that you need to jump into the entire world of digital marketing and learn everything, okay? That's actually the worst thing you could do, because it's going to give you a lack of momentum, right? And when we talk about getting on the wave, right, you pick wave selection, meaning, okay, I'm gonna focus on doing client consulting, and I'm gonna focus on digital marketing and apps because I think that's the wave. If we're gonna try to paddle to create momentum so we can now stand up on that wave, one of the biggest things that's gonna kill momentum is you trying to be a jack of all trades and learn everything there is to know about digital marketing and everything there is to know about apps. So when I say break it down to the common denominator, pick the thing that is going to be the most impactful for the company. And thus it's going to be the most impactful for your revenue as a digital marketing consultant, okay? So I'll give you a couple examples of this. On Tai's original SMMA course, I taught a system called lead ads, okay? This was back a few years ago. Now, we still use this strategy today. This is probably in my opinion, obviously I'm biased because I taught the class, but even from feedback from students, this is one of the best standalone classes in the original SMMA, because you could take a strategy called lead ads that you could learn in about 45 minutes to an hour is what it takes you to learn. And then it only takes you about 45 minutes to an hour to implement for a client. So to learn the whole strategy and to implement the strategy for a client, you're talking about less than 2 hours. And it's a service that you could charge $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 for, and bring in anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 in profit per month per client residually. And it's something, again, you can learn in an hour and you can implement in an hour. So think about that as far as time leverage, right? If you can learn a strategy in an hour and implement it in another hour, that's 2 hours total to learn and implement it, and you can make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month profit off of that strategy for your business, that is highly, highly, highly leverageable. That means you're making, it only takes you an hour to implement it per client, that means you're making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 an hour, right? How many of those clients would you have to sign up to be able to, again, do our initial goal, which should be to replace your 9-to-5 income, right? Or if you are already a full-time entrepreneur, maybe you have a different goal to hit a certain number or to hit a certain number of clients, right? So that's an example of, again, we're not trying to learn everything in digital marketing. We're trying to learn the most powerful strategies that we can learn quickly, that we can implement quickly, that are going to make us revenue, right? So that's one example. Another example is when I got into print on demand, I was number one my first month. So my very first month selling apparel on print on demand, this is back in 2014, I was number one in the entire industry in my very first month. So we sold about $1.3 million worth of t-shirts and hoodies our first month, which equated to roughly $450,000 in net profit, okay? So did I do that by focusing in on all aspects of digital marketing? No. And I can tell you that that's what most people were doing. So most people that heard about, what was going on and, print on demand's hot and we want to, be a part of this, they're like, hey, Mike, have you heard about Twitter? Have you heard about Pinterest? Have you heard about all these different things? And I'm like, yeah, I have. But for me, I want to focus on the most powerful of those, right? Which in the digital marketing space, it was Facebook, and it still is Facebook. Okay, so instead of focusing on the entire industry of digital marketing, let's focus in on what's the most powerful player in that market that's going to push the most, right? Because Facebook, we've seen companies build anywhere from a $100,000 company to a multi-million-dollar company to a multi-billion-dollar company, almost purely, if not purely, from Facebook ads, right? So just that one source alone has been shown and proven to be able to build everything from a small to a medium to a humongous size company. So not saying you can't add on to this and you can't add things like Google and you can't add, other marketing services, but because that service is so powerful, why not focus in on it to start? Because you want to have that momentum to be able to sell. If you're sitting there and trying to learn every single strategy in digital marketing, you're not going to be able to do something similar to what I did in print on demand, which is sell $1 million worth of shirts your first month. You're not going to be able to go out and sell a good amount of clients your first month if you're just learning, and you're not running with some strategies, right? So with Facebook lead ads, we had students that took that strategy and ran with it, and they were producing very, very, very significant revenue within days because, again, they were taking a strategy that only took an hour to learn, an hour to implement, and they were going off and they were selling it and they were creating momentum. They were paddling, making sales, and then eventually riding that wave, okay? Same thing on the app side, right? So when we talk about apps, one that I like to use a lot is an app called High Level. Now, in other videos we talked about this is kind of a super app, right? So we've gone from, building with individual Lego blocks, which is basically coding from scratch, which wasn't that long ago. So that was only a few years ago that I was having to fly 24 hours on Air India from Maui to places like New Delhi because I was building software. I had a #1 app in the App Store. I had some pretty robust software I was building, but I didn't have any other options if I wanted to build software except to code it myself. Then with the advent of apps, which is an app is really just a piece of perfectly working code, now I can access perfect code without having to build it, without having to fly to India, without having to wait months and months and spend tens of thousands of dollars. I can spend tens of dollars or maybe hundreds of dollars at the most, and I can have that software working for me instantly, and it's already tested and proven and basically bug free. And that's very, very, very powerful, right? And so now kind of in phase 3, we have these super apps where now instead of building with individual Lego blocks, again, we have these pre-built structures in the form of apps. So you have like the pirate ship pre-built, the castle pre-built, the train station pre-built, if you're looking at it from a Lego perspective, to now kind of phase 3 with apps like High Level. It's like a Swiss Army knife of apps, right? You've got 10 apps in one. So now instead of building with individual Lego blocks, you can open up the box and you've got 10 pre-assembled Lego structures ready to go. You've got the pirate ship, the castle, the spaceship, the train station, all pre-assembled in one box. You've got the whole Lego city ready to go within minutes, right? On something that would have normally taken, 2 to 3, 4 years ago, might have taken you 6 months or more to build and tons of money, right? So this is where the action is, and this is where you can create a lot of revenue and momentum as a consultant because it's so new, right? Imagine a dentist that's been around for 10 years, 20 years. Imagine a chiropractor that's been around for 15 years, 25 years. They're not used to the way that this works right now. This is, again, new to the last 1 to 2 years. So if you come in as a consultant and you say, hey, I'm going to break this down to the common denominator, I'm going to show you the most powerful way that you can market, right? And to break it down even more narrow than Facebook, I might be covering just a few of the most powerful ads. So we might be covering lead and messenger. Ads. Right, so not just covering all of Facebook, but hey, these are 2 of the most powerful ads you can run, lead ads and messenger. And I'd probably even just start with one of them to start off with, again, because we want to break it down to the most simple most simple option, which is just focusing narrowly on one strategy that we can learn quickly and we can implement quickly. Now, don't think that this takes away from either 1, your revenue, or 2, the amount of value that you can bring to the client, because I can tell you just by knowing Facebook lead ads and how to implement a Facebook lead ad with a super app like High Level, just knowing that one strategy can create humongous revenue for any of the clients you're working with. And thus, if you're creating humongous revenue for them, what do you think that means for you? You get to take a piece of that, and it's very, very, very substantial. And because, again, you're dealing with having to put digital marketing together with these pre-built apps, it's something that you can implement right away. You don't have to wait for this software to get built right here. It's already ready to go in the form of some of these super apps that we can use like High Level. So we'll have a affiliate link so you guys can actually get the software. You can get a free trial, and it'll also have our sequences built in. So basically, within High Level, you'll see that you can do automatic things like automatic text messaging, email, straight to voicemail messages. It's its own CRM system. You can do straight to Facebook Messenger messages. You can do live call connects. There's all these different things you can do. And so we have actually our proven sequences built in. So we'll have a link where you can not only access a free trial of the software, but you can also access those sequences so you can just be out of the box, ready to go, and be able to sell. Okay, so hopefully this provides you a really nice overview, of that. Now, again, when we come back up to digital marketing, you can grow on this, right? Because you have Google, right? You have SEO. So basically, the way I like to look at even marketing is you have search and social, which is generally Google and Facebook as the two, power players, and underneath, Google, you have YouTube and all of Google's partners. Underneath Facebook, you have Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and all of Facebook's partners. So those are kind of the two kings and queens of the industry, Facebook and Google. And then underneath those, you have kind of organic posting and you have paid, right? So on Google, organic, search results would be like SEO, right? Paid would be like Google AdWords. For Facebook, you have paid, which is like Facebook paid ads. And for organic, that would be like organic posting on Facebook and keeping people engaged, right? So you have these different areas that we can grow into, but the easiest spot to start that's going to generate the most immediate revenue for your clients and is going to be the easiest for you to learn, again, is that common denominator is going to be Facebook paid ads, which is going to be, again, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, all of their partners. Focusing on those paid ads is going to bring you the most immediate revenue, and it's going to be the easiest to learn, and it's going to give huge impact for your clients. Okay, so again, combining that with the super app like High Level, which we'll give you a link for, so you guys can not only get a free trial of that, but you can also so you can see kind of what a super app looks like, and having this Swiss Army knife of apps at your fingertips. But we'll also have some sequences that we use pre-built in there so that you guys can just hit the ground running and there's no lag time at all. You can just get on that wave, paddle quick, and then stand up and start hitting revenue. So hope you guys really enjoyed this. Appreciate you guys watching, and aloha from Maui. Hey, aloha everyone, and welcome to this part of the video where we're going to do a little bit of a recap of what we just talked about, and we're going to dive into some of the specifics and programs you can use to kind of make this all possible. So when we talk about what services a client needs, as a digital marketing consultant, we can break that down into two different groups. One is going to be do it yourself, and one is going to be done for you, meaning we're either showing the client how they can do it themselves. Now this could either be training the owner or training the team, which are different strategies depending on the size of the company usually. So a smaller company, maybe an owner or a small team is handling marketing, whereas a bigger company or more profitable company might have an actual marketing team. And the other side over here is done for you. So this is where the service doesn't want to train the owner, they don't want to train an in-house team, they actually want you to do the work, okay? And if you're on this side, we have a few options. We can either go and hire freelancers. If we want a complete done-for-you solution, we could use Tai's profit index, so we can actually just refer out the entire deal and just get paid a commission on the whole thing and have a trusted company that can handle that. Or we can find another outsourced team to use, okay? So those are kind of our main options as a consultant, and I think that you should be well versed in the different routes you can go because they're all pretty easy to implement, and you want to be versatile. When you're going after a company, you want to have a few different offerings, and so this is the way that I like to look at it, okay? Now, if we're talking about the do-it-yourself side, and we're going to be training the owner or training the team on how to do digital marketing effectively, we want to look at, again, those top two things that can impact our big number there, sales, right? The top line number of any balance sheet, the most important number, sales, right? That number that if you don't have it, you don't have a business, okay? And so what we talked about was the number one thing that can affect that number is digital marketing. And we don't want to look at all of digital marketing, right? We just want to look at what is the number one most effective way we can do marketing so that we can be effective quickly, both at learning the strategy and at implementing it, right? And beyond Facebook specifically, we want to focus on just a few strategies, specifically lead ads out of the gate. And then if we're going to add one, we can look at messenger ads. These are specifically going to be the most powerful ads that we can run right now going into 2020, 2021. This is going to be kind of our mainstay for marketing, okay? And then the number two thing that's going to impact that sales number is going to be software, right? And what's the best way that we like to access software? Through apps, right? Because it's done for you, it's ready to go, it's out of the box. And instead of On this side, where if you have to build something from scratch, something can take tens of thousands of dollars, so lots of time, or lots of money, and also lots of time, right? Whereas on the app side, we're literally paying pennies on the dollar, right? Plus it's instant, right? So we get that code working on our company instantly. So instead of paying big dollars and lots of time, we're paying pennies on the dollar, and we have instant access to that software. That's why we like to be using apps, right? And not just any old apps, but we want to use super apps, right? So we're going to talk about one today called High Level that is about 10 different amazing apps built into one, okay? And so when we're consulting with a company, there's a few ways that we can make money here. So we can, first of all, show them how to do this. So we can provide them with video trainings on how to do the digital marketing. And we can also provide them with video on how to operate high level, right? So we can provide the knowledge, and we can also make revenue off of the software itself. Okay, so once we have somebody in there that's basically having all their leads managed with our software, then we can make money off of that as well. So let's kind of talk a little bit about this. So let me show you. First of all, this is an example site of a niche agency called Dentist Digital that does this service for dentists. Okay, so this is all built using Kajabi. Okay, so this is a go-to tool that we're going to talk more about, but this is what can handle all of your website, your merchant account, your email autoresponders. A lot of different things can be covered with this, so that this can kind of be your real estate on the web, as well as, again, processing money, keeping in touch with clients, all sorts of things that this does, okay? So this is also considered kind of a super app here, okay? Now, the goal when we set this up for a company is we want the digital marketing, the number one thing impacting sales, to come into a software, or in this case, an app called High Level, and it's going to nurture those leads, right? So the basics of it looks like this. Okay, you have your ad here, digital marketing. This is going to be your Facebook ad. And we use these strategies both for ourselves and our own business and for our clients. So, it doesn't really make sense if you're doing something for clients that you don't do it for yourself, right? If it's a good marketing strategy and it's a sound marketing strategy and it's pretty much one of the best, if not the best marketing strategy out there, why wouldn't you both do it for yourself and for clients, right? So again, this is something you can do for both. So you have your ad here. We've got some people on here. They're happy. They're talking about our product. And then when someone opts in, specifically for a lead ad, okay, we're going to collect their name, their email, and their phone number. And we're going to send that information over here to High Level. But before it gets to High Level, we're going to connect it through a tool called Zapier. Zapier is an amazing tool you guys are going to learn more about that is built for connecting softwares. Because normally, for these two softwares to talk to each other, it would be through what's called an API. Okay, so an API. And an API is an application protocol interface, which is basically the language where these two guys can talk to each other. Okay, and that has to generally be done by a coder. You have to find out what language Facebook speaks and what language the other app speaks and how they're going to talk to each other, basically. And so what we do is we eliminate this process. We make this process push button easy with a tool called Zapier, where it's literally push the purple dinosaur simple, and you can say, hey, I want you to take this information here, name, email, and phone number for my client, and I want you to put it into this software where it's going to do all of these cool things, okay? And so let's look at a little bit of behind the scenes on how that process works, okay? Okay, so this is going to be the Facebook Ads Manager for a gym that I'm a partner in here on Maui that we do this very same strategy for extremely effectively. And so if we look at these, each of these are separate videos. It's just a 15-second video. It was shot on an iPhone, and it basically says something to the effect of, hey, we're giving out 2 free weeks at the gym. We have brand new equipment, free classes, and the best vibes on Maui. If you want to take advantage of this free 2 weeks, click the link above or below or swipe up, and you can claim that offer, right? So that's what these videos say, pretty simple. And they are getting leads for about $5. So this one here has been running for the longest here in the middle. It's brought in 54 leads at $4.67. This is a new variant that we tested. This one on top, also about the same cost, a little bit higher, gotten 18 leads. And then this one is a new one we're testing as well and not performing as well. So still at $10, which is our target, but not getting quite as well not getting quite as good of results as the other ads. Okay, so these are pointing to Zapier. So what happens here is that Zapier is a tool, right? And if we look right here, this is the Zap that we have running for the gym. And so this Zap is just connecting these two tools. Literally just as simple as what we talked about, right? You can see here it's pointing Facebook, and this little symbol right here is the high level app. So it's literally just saying, hey, I want to take the information from here and I want to send it over here. Okay, so super, super simple. And then when the information gets into the app, it looks like this. You can see here we've had 197 leads uploaded, and you can see the pipeline. So everybody's kind of put into, info submitted, left message, follow-up, scheduled appointment, claim free week, became a member. Okay, so this software is doing a lot. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that it's doing. So the first thing it's doing here is this funnel you see. It's putting everybody into what's called an opportunity. And so this is basically like a full-blown CRM that's a copy of Pipedrive, which is my favorite CRM. It's called a visual CRM, where as the leads come in, they come into info submitted, but then as you talk to that lead, you can move them into left message, or you followed up, or scheduled appointment, or ultimately became a member and you won the deal. So you can basically have this all in one area. The next thing that it does is when the lead comes in, it's going to run it through a campaign. So if we click on marketing here, we can click on campaigns, and you can see a lot of different campaigns in here. Now, these are all pre-built so that you guys will have these. So there'll be a link above or below this video that will give you a free trial for 2 weeks of this software, so you can check out how powerful it is. But also in this specific link that we attached here, just for Thai students, we'll have all of these campaigns pre-built so that you guys don't have to build this stuff. But let me show you this one right here that we're running for the gym. This is a really, really simple one, but it'll give you an idea of what it does. So when the lead comes in off of this Facebook lead ad, so if we click over here and let's just take a look at the ad here. Okay, so you can see, come enjoy 2 free weeks at Fusion Fit. Here's the video. And then down here, 2 free weeks at Maui's Premier Gym, and they click Get Offer. Once they click Get Offer, their name, email, and phone number will come up pre-populated. So the forms are already filled in because Facebook has that information. Once they click Confirm that they want to get that offer, it's going to, through Zapier, right? Zapier here, it's going to send it from Facebook over to High Level, super simple. And one of the things it's going to do is run through this sequence. So the first thing it's going to do, it's going to send out a text message that is going to basically say, hey, this is Elijah from the gym. Thanks for expressing interest. And we want to set up a good time to activate your trial. Okay. Then an email is going to go out 4 minutes later saying pretty much the same thing. And then 7 minutes later, it's going to do what's called a live call connect, where it's actually going to call our sales team at the gym and ring multiple phones of multiple salespeople. And it's going to say, hey, whoever picks up first on the sales team, they're going to get the call, and it's going to say, hey, you got a new lead, Sally Smith from Facebook. Do you want to connect the call? And then they press any key, and then it's going to connect that call. Now, once it connects that call, it's also going to record it. So if you're monitoring your sales team, you can just come down here to phone calls, and you can see a list of all the phone calls and actually the recordings of those calls, okay? So super powerful. They've also built an entire version of ClickFunnels in here. There's some really exciting things coming with the software that's going to make it even better, actually coming out in the next 30 to 60 days. So this is, I don't really promote software, by the way. So the last software I ever even promoted was Zapier, which was 2 years ago on the original SMMA for Thai. So I'm not really a software promoter, but this software I can tell you is a game changer, and it actually integrates with the original software that I talked about a few years ago, which is Zapier, which is the connection tool. But back then, when we took the lead ad, so when the lead came in and we had the information, the first thing we did back then was put it into an Excel spreadsheet, right? So look how far we've come just in the last couple of years. Now, instead of taking their name, email, and phone number and putting it in an Excel spreadsheet for a company or even for our own company, now we can come in here. So now we can have everything in a full-blown CRM system, as well as now we can have all of our conversations in one place. So all of the email and text history for each client is saved in here, and we can actually communicate with them back and forth, both via text and email right here or from our Apple or iPhone app. So that's an option. We have a review system built in. We have a trigger system that we'll talk more about. So imagine how powerful this is. So you can teach a client how to do this. Again, these ads were filmed on iPhones, and so they're very easy to do for a client. And you can show them how to do that and connect it in a push the purple dinosaur easy way so that they can have leads flooding into this software. And not only are the leads just coming in and they have them, but it's doing this entire nurturing process where you can do everything from text message to email to voicemail messages to live call connects to Facebook Messenger messages, as well as having everything in a CRM, right? So when you do all of this for a company, not only are they happy, but also if you have them on your white label version of this software, which you can do, you can white label it, you can charge them for access. So now as a consultant, you can charge for software, which we're going to talk more about that as a model, but that's a really, really awesome income stream that doesn't attach to your time, right? So if somebody's paying you to access this software, you don't have very much, if any, time connected to that income that you're making, which is super solid. So this was a bit of an overview of everything. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And on some of the next videos, we'll jump more in depth into how we can leverage this awesome software for our consulting company. So aloha from Maui, and I'll see you guys on the next one.